Hi, I'm John, and this is Super Saiyan 3 KID GOKU from the F.E.S. Son Goku line. I love this line of figures because of the high quality sculpt, but something that always bothered me about this figure is that even though from this angle it looks exactly like the source image, once you look at it from the front, I think it looks a little bit silly. So let's see if I can make a few changes to make this look a bit better from every angle, while I repaint this to add some extra shading. And before I get started, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more projects like these. Now let's go make some baby carrot soup. After letting the figure sit in boiled water for a while and a lot of elbow grease, I was able to separate the pieces. Next was to put some crocodile clips on him, and it's prime time. I used Army Painter spray primers on the figure, starting with demonic yellow for the hair, barbarian skin for his skin, ash gray for his shirt and belt, and desert yellow for his pants. And with that out of the way, let's start painting, starting with the shirt. For the base coat, I used a mix of flat blue, blue-green, black, and a bit of white. To help replicate the glow effect from the source image, I'll be adding several layers of highlights. Using a small dry brush, I added the first layer with a mix of flat blue and azure on most of the shirt, leaving only the deepest folds of the shirt alone. For the next layer, I used just some plain azure on higher raised areas of the shirt. Then to finish it off, I use an even lighter shade, mixing some white with some azure, and applying it to some finer areas. For the belt, I painted the base coat with the Stonewall Gray. Then proceeded to dry brush several layers of white to add highlights. And here the multiple layers of white were definitely necessary because if it was just one or two, the belt would end up just looking like a light gray, and there wouldn't be much of a gradient. For the pants, I painted on a base layer with a mix of yellow ochre, flat brown, and leather brown. And you'll have to trust me on this one because I clearly misjudged the location of the camera for this shot. Then for the first layer of highlights, I dry brushed on some yellow ochre, sun yellow, and leather brown. And because I'm trying to convey him powering up with an aura, I added little bits of pink to areas I thought would look great with some extra vibrant yellow, similar to what I did in my false Super Saiyan Goku video. Then I finished the pants with another layer of highlights, this time with just some sun yellow and yellow ochre. Moving on to the skin, Goku from Dragon Ball GT has a tanner complexion, so I went with a base coat of bronze skin tone and a drop of salmon brown. After I finished base coating the arms, I painted on his wristbands using some pink, made from some flat red, white, and a drop of purple. After painting the darker skin base coat on his faceplate, I painted in his eyes using some white. Then to paint his pupils, I put the necessary parts back together onto his base to make sure that wherever I decided to put the eyes, it was in the correct place on the final figure, unlike what I did in my Beast Gohan video. I used a ball stylus with some emerald to mark where I wanted the eyes, and then put it under a magnifying glass to refine the shape of the iris. Then I put a slightly lighter shade of emerald into the interior of the iris to give it a little dimension, and then put in some black pupils. To finish off the eyes, I gave it the John Hobby Room Special and added in a little bit of white to give the eyes a little shine. Moving back to the skin, I added 2 layers of highlights. The first one was done with a sunny skin tone and a bit of light skin tone. The second layer was more of the glowy highlight, with the same two paints mixed together, but more light skin tone than sunny skin tone this time. While painting in the highlights, I noticed that the white of his teeth were a little bit mismatched with his eyes, so I gave him a free whitening. And that's it for the skin for now, and it's time to work on the hair. Next, I painted on a base coat of a mix of sun yellow and yellow ochre. Next, taking some more techniques from my Fall Super Saiyan Goku video, I painted on some pink on all the areas that I wanted to be extra vibrant. Unfortunately, when I painted on my next highlight layer with some sun yellow, it didn't really come through the way that I wanted and ended up looking a bit orange. So I went over it again with an additional layer of sun yellow to completely cover it. In the end, maybe it did make it look a little bit more vibrant, I'm not sure. If someone has any extra tips, let me know in the comments below. Then I proceeded to add some highlights using some sun yellow and white on any of the areas that I wanted to emphasize. Then to finish off the hair, I painted the tips with an almost white shade of yellow. Onto the home stretch, I made some tiny adjustments to the boots. There were some messy paint applications along the borders of the black and white, so I just repainted all the black areas just to clean up those lines. Then I added a bit of Stonewall Gray to the tips of the shoes to give them a bit of highlights. And then came my favorite part of every project, adding panel liners. I used gray panel liners on all the white sections of his boots to bring out all of that awesome sculpting. Then I went back to the faceplate and added brown panel liner on all of the lines on and around his eyes and lips. I also added brown panel liner to his fist to make it appear to have actual separation between his fingers. I used pink brown panel liner on his ears and the rest of the musculature of his skin. Lastly, to clean up any overspill from applying the panel liner and just to neaten up any of my line work, I used some Tamiya X20 thinner and some pointed Q-tips. If you're interested in learning more about how I detail figures with panel liners, I have a full tutorial video on how I use them. It really can make a big difference even without the paint, so check out that video on the top right to find out more. Lastly, I applied a Krylon matte clear coat to the entire figure as a protective layer and to give the figure a matte finish. All that was left to do was to put him back together. And he's done. Here's what he looked like before. And here's the final result. This was a fun little project to work on, and I hope that the work I did made what was already a great figure just a little bit better. Let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, thanks to all my members, with special thanks to my newest members, Iron Blaze and Pew Pew Laser. If you want to support the channel directly, you can join my YouTube membership for $2 a month, or if you want to support without the monthly commitment, you can just leave a tip. And check out my Amazon storefront in the description for everything I use in this video. Check out my other projects and figure reviews on my channel, and if you like my work, subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment, and hit the notification bell so you know when my next video is going to drop. Thanks for watching, see you next time.